No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a recovering conspiracy theorist way back in the 1990s. For some reason, I'm seeing debt collector lawsuits make adjustments to where it seems like there is no understanding about what people are going through. Like they're just trying to steamroll. And my thought process, and for all of you who have seen me on this channel when I talk about dealing with credit, dealing with debt, dealing with these debt collector lawsuits, is that there needs to be some understanding and some form of compassion for what people are going through. Now, I know that we got our little back and forth with what President Trump is going to do with the CFPB or what he's not going to do with the CFPB. Let me tell you something that was written into the rules that the CFPB had every debt collector put on their website. I spoke on this years ago when this ruling came out. Every debt collector had to put on their website that they would listen to the individual's financial hardship. And from the determination on the belief of that hardship, the proof of that hardship, they could potentially just forgive the debt. And when they forgive the debt, they're not supposed to do it with a 1099-C, but sometimes they did it. I did not believe that that should be legal because they did not loan the individual the amount that they claim that they owed. From what I'm seeing right now, it looks like the compassion is been thrown out of the window. And debt collectors are getting more emboldened with these debt collection lawsuits. And it seems that some courts, quote, some court judges, let me extend that. I'll repeat it again. Some court judges seem to be tilting the scales a little bit towards the debt collectors. My mission, my goal, this became my mission in life, which is something that I never thought that I would be doing at this level when it came to helping people like you who have debt collectors either sending you letters or going to the next step, suing you in court. So let's start from the top. If you're being sued by a debt collector, they have purchased your debt from the original creditor. Because they've purchased the debt from the original creditor, they're under a totally different guideline on the documents that they must produce to be able to sue you in court. And even if the original creditor is suing you, they have to use an attorney in between, which makes that attorney a debt collector because they're collecting debt for others. So there's rules that an original creditor's attorney must abide by according to the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act. And then there's a step up. When a debt collector buys debt, there's all sorts of documents, all sorts of chain of custody, conformity documents. Even the way that they submit the case to the court must be accurately submitted, or the case could be thrown out just because they didn't follow the rules on what they must produce when they initially submitted the case. But that's not all. Even if they do that, even if they submit everything the right way, your right is to, number one, answer every allegation that they claim against you, because they will use words like unjustly enriched yourself. You never know what they might put in there to get the judge to look more favorable at their side. Like you just got the money and ran off, never made a payment, never wanted to do anything. They never mention that stuff in there. They'll usually mention that you got statements and all of that stuff. They never mention that you were making payments on time and then all of a sudden you ran into trouble. Because they don't want to do that, because then you would be tilting the scale your way. But even with them not doing that, and it makes sense that they should not do that because they're working in the interest of themselves or their client. there are documents that they must produce to even be able to bring the case, and then they must present them to you, and then you have the opportunity to tear those documents apart. So let me give you some tips on the things that you need to look out for. First, you need to make sure that they have a chain of custody document that shows if they purchased a debt, or if a portfolio company purchased a debt, or if there were several trustees that had their hands on the debt and then they transferred it to one trustee who signed off for all the other trustees. I know that was confusing, but this is what you will see in some of these lawsuits, that they had multiple trustees or multiple debt collectors or portfolio companies who purchase debt and then pass it on by assignment or sell to other debt collectors. That it could be very confusing, but those are the documents that you're going to want to look at, and you're going to want to scan through and comb through those documents to see if there's anything in them that doesn't seem right, such as, I've seen this before, where they sold a debt to a debt collector. They said they sold it, but then the date that they supposedly purchased the debt was dated after they had sold it to the debt collector. So which one is true? But they don't want you to pay attention to even look at or even read any of those documents. They just want you to get it, get emotional, get afraid, maybe don't show up so you can get a default judgment, or even show up and not have an answer to their allegations and not have any type of defense. That's what they're hoping for. So that bill of sale, you want to look at it and make sure that the chain of custody is showing properly, that it makes sense. Who had it? Who did they pass it to? The dates, all of that stuff. You want to make sure. Then you want to also make sure that your name is in that portfolio. So if they sold a portfolio, they buy it in batches. They don't buy one account here and one account there. They buy a whole pool of accounts. And you want to see how your name is guaranteed to be attached to that pool of accounts that they purchased. You want proof of it. You want a full account number. You want a full accounting from there. Then also, you want to see the warranty that they got from whoever they got it from, to show that to you so you can review it to see if they warrant the entire portfolio. Do they say that the entire portfolio is guaranteed to have no errors, no issues? Will they put that in writing? Because if this amount that they're claiming is true, and they're getting it from another company who had the full accounting records, what are they doing to authenticate that the amount that they're claiming that you owe is 100% accurate? So that goes into the next phase. You want them to give you all of the accounting records from day one. If you were to contact the original creditor, and even if the original creditor is suing you, the debt collector who works for the original creditor has to get these documents to prove how they came up with that amount. So it doesn't matter which one. You just keep your mind set on you have the right to get all of the documents to prove that that amount that they claim that you owe is 100% accurate and true, with records, not by words, not by taking the word of someone and having them sign some affidavit saying that they're familiar with the accounting procedures and records. And if it's from a debt collector, you know that they're not working at that company and they're not 100% sure, because they don't work in the accounting office of that original creditor. Also, the next tip that I want you to watch out for. In that bill of sale and assignment, you will see with some original creditors, they state that a debt collector who purchases the debt from them, the original creditor, cannot resell it to another debt collector. They have that written in there because they've been sued. When they've sold it to a debt collector, that debt collector sold it to another debt collector, and then that other debt collector did something that was wrong, and they swept up everybody and they included the original creditor too, because they're like, hey, you're at fault for getting this information over to this debt collector who did the wrong thing with it. Because if that debt collector loses their case, they do something wrong, everything about that with the records, with sharing your private information, all of that becomes suspect. And who will that go to? The original creditor. That takes us into the next tip, sharing your private information. You want to see something that shows that that debt collector had a right to see your private information. Some sort of document. It could be the original contract. That original contract needs to be signed. That's the next tip. But you want to see something that shows that you allowed them to have access to your private information. The next tip is the original contract with your signature or digital signature. A lot of people don't know this. They cannot, unless you allow them and you don't question it, to come to court without an original contract that is signed by you, either digitally signed or with your wet signature. We always tell people, get your wet signature so you can see that that contract is original. The next tip that we want to go into is we want to make sure that they are suing you in the proper venue. What does that mean? Proper venue means that you live in that county where they're suing you. You can get your entire case thrown out if you do not live in the county that they're suing you in. Now, if they're suing you as an individual and as a business owner, because that was a business account, then they can sue you anywhere that they want to. But if you're an individual, they have to sue you in the county that you live in. That's called proper venue. The next thing that I want you to watch out for, and this had went away for a while and now it's starting to peek its head up again, is that debt collectors will try to fool the court by making it look like the original creditor is suing you when it's really a debt collector who has purchased the debt from the original creditor. They'll put on there that their company is the assignee of the original creditor. Technically, but not really. If they purchased the debt, they are not technically, well, technically they are, but they are not assigned the debt. You could tear that apart. All you have to do is, in your response, you need to make it clear to the judge that they do not work for the original creditor. And as a matter of fact, you might be able to get your case dismissed by them putting that on there, because the judge might say, hey, you're not even working with the original creditor. You purchased the debt. Why did you put that on there? They get away with this all the time because people don't know to challenge that. The next tip I want to talk about is just one of the most ridiculous documents that I've seen, but I understand why debt collectors are even putting this document in there. It's the business records affidavit. They put this in there to make it look like they know that they are deep into the original creditor's accounting. But basically, this is all it says, is that they're familiar with the record, the business records and the normal course of business of that original creditor. That they're familiar. You can tear that document apart, because that individual who signs that court affidavit has nothing to do with the original creditor. All they're doing is they're looking at the records of the information that they received, but they do not have any inside information about how that debt that they're claiming that you may owe was accumulated. Okay, the next tip, and I spoke a little bit about it earlier, is they must give a document that says certificate of conformity. This means that all of the documents that they got from the portfolio are accurate, from at least from what they received. It does not speak to the accuracy of the documents to the amount that's claimed and what they're claiming in their summons. It just says that the way that they got the documents is the proper way that the courts require it and the proper way for portfolio companies or debt collectors to purchase and acquire debt. That's all that document is about. But what I want you to also do is to make sure that that document has a date that is similar to the date of the bill of sale. Because if they got this document and maybe it's dated a year before, and then they're giving you another document that's a year later saying the bill of sale, those two would not coincide with each other. They're going to get the bill of sale in this document somewhere either the same time frame or a little bit later, but the conformity document has to come later because they have to get the documents and then sign off that they did follow the rules on getting the documents, and then they get the certificate of conformity. So those are some very important tips that you need to watch out for, and it can help you construct a summons response. And the next thing that you got to be able to do is to also craft that and put it in words, an affirmative defense to help, number one, beat your case, but you got to do it in a way that you're not just trying to deny everything. If you go with the mindset of they got to prove it, like you got to prove it, but you can't. Some people or most people go into court with saying they're just they're thinking in their mind they want them to prove it, but they in their words and the way that they say it or write it down, they making it like they're just denying it. And what you want to do is you want to craft your responses, your affirmative defense, in a way that will get them to prove the debt without looking like you're just trying to deny everything. Denying and proving, two different terms, and if you do it the right way, you will be able to win your case. We've been able to see the results of that time and time again. So if you need help with the summons, you have two options. You could either have us do it or you could do it yourself. If you want us to do it, go to thecreditrepairshop.com, and then you'll see the help for the summons. Link is also below here, but you can go and then we can create it for you, or you can go to summonsmaster.com, and that AI model was trained by me, my office, from real results that work. There is nothing else out there. This is not ChatGPT or nothing like that. This model is exclusive to me. I own the algorithm for the model and the way that the documents are scanned. It is incredible. It's exactly as if it was me doing it. Exactly as if it was me doing it. So it's an excellent application. Summonsmaster.com. If you need help with your credit, you can always visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch video what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. That's the way that we repair credit and help increase scores. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you early in the game, you get that debt collection letter. You can either go to summonsmaster.com, upload that letter, get it, create it. It'll scan it because they're going to come after you their own way. You're an individual, right? They're going to come after you the way that they want to come after you. Upload that document, either a JPEG or a PDF, that one document. Click on debt validation. It'll create it. All you got to do is sign and date it. Send it to them, certified mail. Boom. It will do wonders. Most debt collectors will stop everything, all their actions. It's going to put you in the best position for that. Or it only costs $27 to do that. Or you can have us do it for you, $59.95. That's also on the creditrepairshop.com website. We'll give you the tracking. You'll get a little green thing like this sent to you from my staff after we send it out. And that's your proof to make sure that they got it. By doing that, makes most of that stuff go away. They don't even expect you to do it. Again, the debt, I call it exclusive certified debt validation letter. Reason why it works so well is because it was designed by me, not a template. It's still not going to be a template, even though you put your information in there. It's not a template. Don't worry. Like, Steve, how is it going to know my name? How is it going to know my address? How is it going to know who's trying to get the money from me? How does it know all of this stuff? It's going to scan it. That's why I keep telling people, when I designed this and I got with the AI company to design it, I told them exactly how I wanted it. There were a lot of companies that said that it cannot be done. They were like, Steve, it is not possible. I was like, my viewers, my listeners, you, my audience, they need something that could be where they just load it. They don't want to accidentally make a mistake. They don't want to accidentally spell something the wrong way. They don't want to accidentally miss something, a digit or a letter, or put something in the wrong spot. They didn't want none of that. And I said that because they don't want it, I don't want it, because I want you to have it easy. The easiest way so you can get back to being with your family, protecting your money, no surprises, protect your assets, protect your lifestyle, so you can move on with your life. I said that's the product that I wanted to create, because that's what my subscribers, what my followers, what fans of the Credit Repair Shop want and need. And they said, well, it's going to cost this much. I said, I don't care about how much. I did care about how much, but this is the way I overcame that. This is the way I overcame it, because it costs a lot. I just said, I'm doing it for them. Like, whenever they would give me the invoice, they had the invoices up, I was like, I'm doing it for them. Like, I'll put something like in the corner of a piece of paper when it's something that I have to take care of for y'all to make it better. And I'll be like, I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for you. And it makes it easier for me to invest. That's just the way I am. I know everybody is that way. That's the way that I am. And when I created Summers Master, that there is like dealing with me right across from my desk and getting a document and saying, Steve, put that together for me. Best of your knowledge and ability, so I can send it out. That's what Summers Master is all about. SummersMaster.com. Visit there. Please subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. It's Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of the CreditRepairShop.com.